Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm your host, Jeff Howard, and I am joined via Zoom from Cairo, Egypt, Regina Pigsley. Hey, Regina.
Hi, Jeff. Good to see you.
Great to see you. It is cool that Zoom does feel like a conversation, right?
Yes, it does. It definitely does.
We all went through the pandemic together, so now this feels right. But everyone listening, if you have a problem with the sound quality, or if it sounds like Regina and I speak over each other, I swear we're not interrupting. There's a micro delay when you record a Zoom. And I don't know if the micro delay ends up longer because you're so much further away, because who knows how many satellites and underground cables our electrons are going through.
Should have used my VPN.
Right? But anyway, the wonderful thing is you're in Cairo. Why don't you say what you're doing in Cairo? Because it's wonderful.
Absolutely. I'm in Cairo because I'm working with World Central Kitchen. They are a nonprofit that feed people in need. They feed people in disaster zones. In this case, we're feeding people in war zones. And I'm doing a lot of the producing around it, a lot of logistics to helping get food to the people that are in need of it.
Absolutely. And it just occurred to me that your producer skills in film completely apply to this.
Oh, 100%. Yes. It's so much logistics. It's so much paperwork. It's people skills, talking to the correct people, having the right communication skills. Absolutely. It's completely transferable. And how I got the job was I produced a film by someone who was staffed with WCK. And he saw that the skills are so easily transferable, the adaptability, and called me on my first one a little over a year ago now. And ever since then, I've been working with WCK every so often. And it's been an incredibly rewarding experience. And I'm just so happy to be a part of it.
Just because I can't help but try to be funny. Dear listener, yeah, I get it. Regina's a better person than we are. You're helping to feed people in a war zone.
Yeah.
I'm doing a podcast and and the podcasts and film festivals are wonderful. But God bless you for what you're doing. It's amazing. All right, so that's why Regina's in Cairo. But the reason she's on this podcast, if you listen to the one before this, it was an interview all about how Regina got into filmmaking and made the films The Phoenix and Matched. The Phoenix played at the Sherman Oaks Film Festival in 2022, won the Grand Jury Award for Outstanding Director Drama, won the Audience Award for Best Short Film Drama, and Matched won the Audience Award at Film Invasion Los Angeles in 2023. That one, we had it as SciFi, technically SciFi. So there you go. And yes. Amusingly, The Phoenix could have been SciFi for sure.
Yes. Yeah. We have got a few SciFi fantasy awards. So yes.
We probably didn't have a SciFi category back then, I bet. Because we're always updating our categories, trying to meet demand. All right. No more talk about that. We're going to do the Discover Indie Film 4 questions, which are, Regina will answer. Name 3 favorite films. Name an underrated film, name an overrated film, and name a lesser-known film for people to seek out. This is just how I get homework. The funny thing is there's like a list of like 200 movies I'm dying to see now, but I'm always watching festival submissions. So, you want to name 3 favorites?
Absolutely. My number 1 favorite film is Chicago. I love the musical element of it. The cell block tango is the most powerful, badass scene I've ever seen in my life. I love it so much. Just the red and black, everything about that movie I love. I love Kill Bill. I just love action. I love martial arts. That storytelling is beautiful, just incredible. A tough one. I would say for the third one is between Drive and Mulan. They're very different. But Drive, by Nicholas Winding Refn, Ryan Gosling, just beautiful. It's one of those films where I studied and did a paper on, And the more I studied it, the more impressed I was because each and every frame said something. And there were so many metaphors to it. I just think it's such a brilliantly done film. Really, really creative. Those are my top three.
Well, by the
But
way,
let's
no,
move
you,
on. Yeah.
by the way, I always embrace, I'm not wearing a black and white striped shirt. I don't have a whistle. There's no referee here. You have four favorites. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with
Yes.
doing, keeping Milan on there. And I want to ask, are Kill Bill volumes 1 and 2 the same for you? Or is it one piece or two?
I see it as one mostly because I don't want the second one to take up another slot in my roster of films. So, yeah, I usually just say one because when I have to choose between one or the other, it's so hard. So that's why I mostly just say they're one.
Interesting, because God, I guess I have to watch volume 2 again. Because the last time I watched them both is when our daughter was old enough to watch them. Actually, she came to me and said, I want to watch Kill Bill. And I looked at this 15-year-old and I said, you're on. We're going to do it. It
Oh my
was,
gosh. Did she like
I,
it?
she loved it. She loved it. That's
Great.
one of the joys of being a film person is when for some reason around 15 I look at my nephews and go, all right, you're ready for Fight Club. You know what I mean? You're ready.
Yeah.
I wait a
Okay,
little
for the
longer
movie
on
Fight Club.
Pulp
I thought you
Fiction.
were like,
Let's
okay,
just
we're going to
Pulp
Fight
Fiction
Club now.
waits. I gotta wait on Pulp Fiction, but they can
Yeah.
keep
Oh
Reservoir
yeah.
Dogs. But
Oh, there we go.
anyhow, excellent list. And yeah, Chicago is just beautiful. And I haven't even gone on
Yes,
and
really, really
on
fun.
about dance with you, but I love when films incorporate dance.
Yes, me too.
Yeah,
It's so powerful when done right.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, so question 2 is a film that
Yes.
is underrated.
Okay, so I watched it on the plane over here and it blew me away. It is The Fall Guy. I really loved it. I loved it. I just loved it so much. I thought it was a really creative, fresh premise. For some reason, I feel like when it was marketed and whatnot, I thought it was going to be lame. But when I actually watched it, I thought it was super creative, super well done, pretty meta too. So as a filmmaker, you're cackling at just all the nuances of it. And the plot actually made sense and had some really good twists and turns. Um, and obviously the action was incredible. I mean, the Fall Guy's about this stunt man. And yeah, some of the stunt scenes are epic. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but I would highly recommend watching it. I'm bummed that it didn't do as well in the box office as I feel like it deserves. I feel like people just said, oh, this is just another blockbuster with some names, blah, 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 same, whatever. But no, it was a really happy surprise, and I'm super, super glad I saw it. Have you seen it?
No, and you know, I'm of the age that I remembered the TV show it's based on. And the
Oh, I did not
TV,
know there was a TV show.
yeah, the TV show The Fall Guy was pretty lousy. I mean, it was of
Oh,
its time of the 80s. I loved it in the
yeah.
80s, but even while it was on, you realized this is some pretty bad shit. It was like so
Mm.
I think a lot of us were like, okay, you've done Charlie's Angels, you've done this, you've done that. I'm not
Hmm.
going to go see The Fall Guy. Come on, that show sucked. How good could this be? But now that you're telling me this,
Yes.
and I trust your taste. I trust your taste
Yeah.
based upon all I know. Got to
Thanks.
give The
Yeah,
Fall
I would
Guy a
recommend
chance.
it, especially if you love action. It's great. I mean, one of the characters is called Tom Ryder. So like it's just yeah, it has some really, really interesting comedic elements to it as well. Some meta comedic elements.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And a great. I know it's a great cast. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
all right. Question number 3 is a film that is overrated.
Yeah, I had a hard time coming up with an answer to this one. I feel like the one that came up immediately was, and I'm going to caveat this in a second, but for me, it's Star Wars. And I really think it's because I didn't watch Star Wars until college. kind of like I told you, didn't watch a lot of like movies growing up and stuff. So when I did see it, just it was that like hype that hit me. Uh, and when you do watch it decades later, and that those special effects aren't don't hit as hard as before, which I think is a sad thing for me to think that Star Wars is overrated because I just didn't, I had been oversaturated with other things. But of course, I understand how incredible those special effects are and like how important it is to cinema history. And I feel like it's almost like, when you're watching films like, okay, not necessarily like this, but but for example, like when you watch Birth of a Nation, the content is terrible, right? But what they were able to achieve and with cinema language and history is incredible. So like I almost see it like, okay, I might not enjoy the whole ride of this whole Star Wars thing, but I am in awe at what they were able to do at the time, and I am very grateful for like what it has done for cinema history.
Let me ask, when you say Star Wars, are you talking about the first 1977 film, or are you talking about like all nine?
So
All
I was talking
nine
about the
current
first
Skywalker
one. Yeah.
sagas.
I was talking about the first ones,
The
but I
very
think
first, the first original trilogy.
yes, the original trilogy, even the original six. Wait, there's six original, right? No.
Yeah,
No.
there was six and now there's nine. But look,
Yeah.
I got your back to a certain extent. Needless to say, I think the very first one was actually kind of special. But
Yeah.
but what but by even the second one, which a lot of my nerd friends think is superior, I'm
Hmm.
the type who says when I showed my daughter the Star uh The Force Awakens was coming out, so I turned to this kid and said, "We're watching 6 Star Wars movies in the next 2 weeks so that we can go see the premiere of The Force Awakens." And the first film I think is wonderful. And then during the next film, she was asking questions, and my only answer was because the screenwriters were lazy and they didn't care. They knew they were going to make $1 billion, whether the story made sense or not. And that was
Yeah.
painful that oh my God, I think she was like 7 at the time, that a 7-year-old was seeing through the plot holes.
Yeah. Oh dear. I haven't
And,
watched the last one either of the new series too, so I'm
you
not
know,
entirely caught up.
obviously one can talk about Star Wars forever because at this point, the universe of it is so huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say leave it all alone. But if you want an amazing experience, watch Andor on Disney Plus. Andor is an
Okay.
amazing work.
All right, I'll check it out.
And
And I
that's
heard
by the Rogue
Mandalorian.
One, Tony Gilroy,
Okay.
which he's a great writer. And so someone actually told a great story for a change.
Amazing. That's what you need. You story
Don't you
first.
need that?
You need story for first,
I'm with you
100%.
that Star Wars is overrated as a
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a
yeah.
little bit overrated.
Well, actually, that's a soapbox I hop on sometimes. I'm like, you're not saying it's bad. You're saying it's
Yes.
overrated. Like sometimes if you ask my overrated, I'll name a film from a filmmaker that won Best Picture, and I think that their film before it and after it are better. And I'm like,
Yes.
look, I'm not saying that's a bad film, but I'm saying why does that one get Best Picture and better films don't? That's
Yeah.
my soapbox. So anyway, that's why I try to make overrated not, it's not
Yeah.
what the worst film ever made.
No. No, and it's still a good piece of art, and obviously people love it. So, yeah, I mean, any film that's made is a miracle. But yeah,
For
it's a
sure, for
little
sure.
overrated.
But we get to move on now. And
Yes.
by the way, I do have to add an extra compliment, which is I think it takes some courage to name Star Wars to that one. A lot of, you know
I
what I mean?
was like, oh shoot.
Because it's just this cultural beast. So,
Yes.
that's I think golf clap for the courage. All right. Last question is a lesser known film that people should seek out.
Yes. So I think I will say Flea. It's spelled Flee, and it's an animated documentary. And it was up for a few Oscars a few years ago. I think it may be like 2021 or something. Yeah, I worked with this production company, this Danish production company, and that's how I found out about it and met the director and whatnot. And I had finished with that production company before this film came out. Um, but when I saw it, I was just so blown away. I think it was such a creative way because so it's about this boy from Afghanistan who flees the country, and it's his journey on his roadblocks of leaving, his journey to finally end up in Denmark. And they actually animated it because they had to protect his identity. So I feel like that's just such a creative way to do a documentary. They still have interviews with him, but they animate the interviews so that his identity is protected. I think the form is super creative. The content is really important, and it is really a look into a really important issue. And yes, I love all the people who worked on it as well, and everyone on that team was lovely. And yeah, I feel like even it's so hard for documentaries to get the platform that it needs. And sometimes you're like, okay, we're Oscar nominated. People will finally know about me and watch this movie. But recently I've been telling people about it, and loads have never heard of it before. And I feel like it should really have more audience to it. I'm not sure where you would find it. I think I watched it. I saw it on a plane a couple times, which was amazing. Yeah, but I would highly recommend watching Flea, the animated documentary.
And it's feature length?
Yep, it's a
Wow, so
feature
it's
length.
feature length and they
Yeah.
right. So that is when you said animated documentary, I was fascinated, but I totally
Yeah.
get it. They were protecting someone's identity.
Yeah. And they still have real life interviews with him. So it is his voice and it is his storytelling of and you see, bits and pieces of animation and documentaries a lot if it's recreation, but never a full animated film on it. Which is just very, very interesting. And certain names are changed for anonymity as well. Yeah, just can't rave enough about it. It's so beautiful.
Well, and what can I say? Is it wrong of me to say that that documentary ties into the fact that you work with World Central Kitchen and
It
have,
aligns a lot with my passions, and yes, of
yeah,
bringing
I
the world
mean caring
together.
and
Yes.
by the way, like I don't just mean like it is truly important to care about the state of humanity throughout the world. And oh my God, someday some people in the developed world might understand what's happened to Afghanistan, but
Yeah.
oh my God, I they were so close.
It's so devastating. It
It's
really is.
devastating what's happened to that nation in since the colonial era. It was
Yeah. Yeah.
always the someone should make a really depressing documentary someday about all the nations that nearly became liberal democracies
hmm
and
Yeah.
the outside world just can't help but fuck with them.
Yeah. They just want money. A lot of governments just want the money, and yeah, it's so sad. Yeah, the money and the power.
It is.
But hopefully,
It's
yeah,
literally that's all it was. That's all it
yeah,
was. Oh, there's resources. Let's take them.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh crap.
Um,
All right.
but
Well,
we have.
but we're
I
getting
know.
better and I have solar panels. That makes me
That's
feel
good.
I sleep better at night knowing that the electricity running the computer that's running Zoom for us right now is coming from the from it's renewable solar energy, which means that no despot is pocketing the money that burned the
Good.
fuel to do this podcast.
Good.
Although I can't say
Yeah.
the same for electricity in Cairo in this case.
No.
But let's
No, but
pretend this is a fully
yes, yes,
renewable.
yes.
The sun is out in California. So anyway,
Beautiful. Yeah,
I tried
but
to
I mean,
shift it to something positive.
yeah, I mean, we can make a difference. It's not doomsday, but we should, try to make a difference and make choices that do better humanity. Because if we don't, yeah, I mean, we are our choices. So if we want to live in a world where, yeah, we where it's pleasant for a majority of the people, yeah, we should do our best to try to understand one another and live together and make it a positive place for people to
And
be.
it truly does affect us because humanity is global, and something happening to someone on the other side of the world will actually come back to you someday. You may not see the direct connection, but I don't know. Sometimes I think we've got to tell people it's in their self-interest, but I get you. But by the way, cheers to
Yeah.
you and cheers to your generation. I mean, it still kind of feels like every generation is more aware, I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
Even the fact that your generation, you were probably exposed to, well, you were raised, probably it's wonderful that you were raised not in front of the idiot box watching TV day and night. But I
Yeah.
know that younger generations are growing up on Korean cinema and
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
cinema.
Yeah.
For us in the 80s, it was like a couple things from Europe, and that was it.
Yeah. Yep. Nope.
So
Yeah.
to be
It was like
aware of other cultures
subtitles.
and what they're
I won't
experiencing.
watch anything with subtitles. It's like-
Oh,
yeah,
subtitles.
but now I feel like our generation's a little different. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, which is nice. It's important. All
It
right.
is.
And with that, we can wrap it up. All right, dear listener, go to the show notes, click on reginapigsley.com to learn more about Regina and her work, and hopefully you'll be able to see it very soon. By the way, and you should also watch the film In Flight. That was
Yes.
from the previous podcast, but we'll just do the same show notes for both. So all good there. Just search wherever you watch films, search for In Flight, and whether it's $6 or $8 or $5, pay to see it. Support indie film. And with that said, thank you for listening to the Discover Indie Film Podcast. If you want to learn more about this podcast or the TV series that was born from it, just go to discoverindiefilm.com or at DIFwins. If you go to Amazon Prime Video, if you've got that app on your TV, just go search for Discover Indie Film, and there's 7 seasons, 70 episodes of wonderful short films from the festival circuit. Regina's film, The Phoenix, showed at the Sherman Oaks Film Festival in 2022 and took home some awards. We hold that festival every December, so check it out at ShermanOaksFF.com and at ShermanOaksFF on social media. Its sister festival, Film Invasion LA, hey, probably premiered Regina's film Matched in June of 2023. So if you want to learn more about that festival that we hold every June, go to filminvasionla.com, and it's at Film Invasion LA on social media. I will say while recording right now, this might make you excited. It looks like there's a good shot that we'll finally get possibly Film Invasion Tempe, Arizona. Film Invasion Grand Rapids is in discussions.
Ooh.
Film Invasion Vancouver, maybe. And I don't know. I had a guy in Chicago, but I think he's backing off. And we almost had Film Invasion London.
Oh wow!
Almost had
Okay.
it just really just got to find a cinephile somewhere in each.
Okay.
But
Okay.
anyone who comes to me and goes, "Hey, how about another festival?" I go, "I can't run it, but I can guide you and give you the name if you do it right." So maybe someday.
Yeah.
I've
It'll
put it
happen.
out there now. I've put it out into the world that, because that was the original thought, actually. Originally, when we started Film Invasion LA, my college roommate lives in Oakland, and we're still dear friends. And and he teaches at a fancy school in Oakland, up on the hill, I think.
Oh.
Fancy private school. High school teacher, high school history teacher, and government teacher. Salt of the earth. And I almost talked him into doing, Film Invasion Oakland or Film Invasion Berkeley when he during the summers, but couldn't talk him into it.
Maybe one day.
I know. I should actually say, hey, got any students? All right. I've gone on long enough. Oh, wait. I didn't mention the indie channel because I got on the Film Invasion thing. If you're listening to me, if you haven't already hung up, although this isn't a phone call, if you haven't already stopped listening, go to indiechannel.tv or download the Indie Channel on your smart TV, whether it's Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Android TV, or your smartphone. The Indie Channel is a socialist attempt to give indie films a shot to give their filmmakers a return. Because the open secret is most indie features, everyone but the filmmaker, if they make a dime, everyone but the filmmaker gets that dime. And if you make an indie short, there's nowhere to put it. And look, I can't brag about the dollars yet. We don't have a ton of subscribers, but if we get subscribers, but anyway, a filmmaker who has a film on the Indie Channel, we take 50% of gross receipts and share them evenly among all the filmmakers, regardless of clicks, views, completions. It's everyone who contributes shares evenly in half of all the money we make. So even though the Indie Channel is losing money, the filmmakers are getting paid quarterly. And someone just got her payment for the last quarter, and she sent me an email that said, "Are you serious? I just made money off this short? I never thought I'd get a payment for my short." And I was like, yeah, and if we can get some subscribers, it'll really, I mean, my dream is that people will actually be able to say, "Oh, I can put 5,000 into a short because I'll make 5,000 in 2 years on the Indie Channel." It's just got to be good. Got to be good. So needless to say, either of your films are welcome if you ever want them. If you decide it's time to put them out into the ether and someone doesn't grab the Indie Channel, it's also always not exclusive, because I don't believe that indie films should be exclusive to any platform. I mean, come on. The world's got to see indie films.
Yes, exactly.
I know people who give their indie short to a website based out of the UK who wanted it exclusive. I'm like, why'd you do that? They gave me $250. And I'm like, and now no one can watch your movie unless they hear of this site? Come on. So anyway.
Yeah.
Boy, I should just change my name to Soapbox, because I cannot get off of them.
We love it.
All right, Regina. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.